Hello everyone, it's Scott, and welcome back to another episode of Agrarian Skies 2. So, I put down a couple of grassy pads, so this is where I was thinking of expanding to Botania, and I forgot that anytime you have any open grassy area, animals are going to spawn. So, I had to fence it in just to keep myself from being eaten alive by the sheeps and the cows. So the sheep I'm going to try. Hey, watch it. The sheep I'm going to move in here into this pen as soon as I figure out a safe way to get out of the pen. So I'm going to have to put fences, ladders, I think, in the back as an escape route, and then open this fence, and then they should follow me up there. The cows are still doing okay. I reduced the number a bit to get them to settle down. And over here is a new contraption that's a variation of something that I built when I was in Sky Factory, and this is a clock. So this is a pretty standard design of what's called a long clock, and so the hopper clock works by transferring items from one hopper to the other. When the hopper empties, it triggers the comparator, which pushes the piston, which shifts the redstone block. And in that couple of microseconds, while the block is moving, the redstone trace here loses its connection and it shuts off. And when it shuts off, it fires this autonomous activator, which is enabled by a low pulse, and it will kick out a bone meal onto the grass, which will produce flowers and grass. And so over here is a harvester that's set up to automatically harvest the flowers and kick out, as we see here, it's going to automatically harvest the flowers in this range, which happens to be just inside the fence area, and it's going to kick out all of the product into this box, which, as we can see, has produced several stacks of dandelions and poppies and lots of grass. And so what I've been doing is taking the grass and dumping it over here in a slightly expanded dirt area. So these Java barrels, I now have full 64 stacks of grass, and so I should probably throw in a couple more oak barrels, but I now have 388 pieces of dirt. So I think I could almost set up a automation in a way that if I could connect the output of the harvester back into the ME system, pipe the output of that into oak barrels automatically through an export bus, which will then produce dirt, I could start sifting the dirt in the grinding area in order to produce material. And so, speaking of which, I have worked on hooking up more parts to the ME system. So all the items that were produced by harvesting or the ore berries are now dumped into this chest, where they are sucked into the ME system. You know, going down into that box next to the sludge boiler, which is what just poisoned me, and that will automatically gather into the ME system. Here we just observed how the harvester is very easily gathering up material, and I've added another block, a automatic planter, which is part of the Mine Factory Reloaded mod. And what that's going to do is, for now, randomly place down in this area, basically covering all these dirt blocks. It's going to automatically place down saplings. And so I can, if you look at the coloring on the top of the planter, you can almost imagine that there's 9 different sectors centered around this planter that correspond with the colors inside. So if I put an oak sapling in the blue filter, then everything on the left here is going to be planted with oak saplings. And so right now I don't care. I'm just letting it produce as many trees as it wants. These trees are then sucked in through a pipe underneath, which comes out here, this one white pipe, which dumps into the chest, which gets sucked into the ME system. So with that, let's head upstairs. So I expanded the walls a bit, and this is going to be the new grinding area. So what I'd like to do, which I'll probably do off camera, is take the hammerers and move them up here. And what I'd like to do is have the output of, well, here's a new lava generator, which is being done with stone strips. And so these strips were produced using a saw. So I have both a diamond saw and a stone saw, and these are quite interesting blocks because they take wood or stone and basically make a half panel with it, and it's actually pretty cool. I hadn't used them before in any other system, and they have some pretty nice effects like this, that it can actually act like a frame and still block all the lava inside so it doesn't spark, and it's actually acting like it's surrounded by items on all sides, but I can walk right up to it and it's not it doesn't have any kind of hitbox. So anyway, so this cobble gen is automatically producing items into the better barrel. What I'd like to do is replace this with obviously deep storage units, but I can't do that until I actually craft some deep storage units. So what I'd like to do is head over to the ME system and demo how to do that. So at the end of last episode, I had shown how we can make energy frames. And so the deep storage unit, well, that's interesting. I didn't realize we had access to the deep dark here. Oh, but I'm going to need unstable ingots, so that's still a long ways away. Okay, deep storage unit are going to need energy cell frames and Strongboxes. And so what I've done is I've shown how I can create empty frames automatically using the ME system, and I pre-computed one here. You can see that it's now just going to burn down items that I already know how to make. And so to make a deep storage unit, I would take those reinforced strong boxes, which are just hardened glass surrounding a hardened strong box, which is just surrounding a regular chest, and invar around a regular chest. Not really that difficult now that I have the ME system. And voila, 4 deep storage units. Great, so let's check in on the quest book and see what I'm missing or what I can cash in. So, Storage Wars, not much here. I think this is the deep storage unit, so what I really need to do is kind of build up. Let's just do that quest tree right now. So that was a cache, which was pretty easy. And claim reward. Machine frame basic. Thanks. Next in line. This is okay. Strong storage. Strong box. It's just the same thing surrounded with tin. Oh. But I'm going to need some chests. And a strong box. Bam. Claim the reward. And this one here is to make deep storage units, which I just did, so it gives me a reward bag. Wonderful. Okay. Let's throw all that into the system. And what I'd like to do is take that upstairs and throw that in to start storing sand, dust, gravel, and cobble. And so then I can get rid of some of these better barrels. Anyway, so one thing, I still didn't get any farther here. Well, actually, sorry. So I was able to figure out how to grow the slimy sapling and produce some green slime. But the secret is really I need to use the watering can. So I learned that the sapling does not respond to bone meal. So that other episode where I was just hitting it and hitting it, nothing happened. There's a good reason why. So let's place that down and hit it with the watering can. And ta-da! So that sprouted quite a large tree, and that's going to get sucked up by the harvester, or at least the leaves are, and that's going to produce more saplings. The congealed slime here, let's just knock it down. A little squishy. Very nice. And that should produce slime balls. Great. So that's going to help me not have to use congealed blood when I'm making pistons and things like that. So I actually need 6 slime balls, so let's throw the second one in. And that will give me 16 slime bricks. Nice. Still waiting on the rest of the exotic metals. So I cannot make a mana steel ingot until I have Botania up and running. So this is going to require a mana infusion. But I have plenty of iron. It's just a matter of getting mana into the proper form, and so that's going to take quite a while. So I'll probably gather the material off camera, so that way it's less tedious for all of you that are watching. All right, so in the assembly line tree, I had worked my way down to a machine shop. And so the Machinist Workbench is something that I really want to explore. It looks like it's an alternative to the crafter box that were very popular in Sky Factory. The Machinist Workbench is not that complicated. In fact, it's just crafting table and chest. And I have all the other ores in quite abundance. And so the Machinist Workbench is going to need blueprints, which actually are, here we go, very simple. Sorry, it's not a blueprint, it's called a schematic. Right, so 2 pieces of paper and a lapis. And what that will allow us to do, if I plug it in over here, just as an example, so I'll be able to basically create formulas here. And what that will do is that will give me the ability to well, we'll see in a second. So here we go, Cyclic Assembly. So this appears to be the way that we are actually going to be crafting items, or auto crafting rather. So the Cyclic Assembler takes RF power it takes items in a internal buffer and then it will basically craft the item and give you the ability to whoops. Sorry, I didn't realize it was that low on chests. So, the as I was saying, it would basically allow for auto crafting of materials as long as you dump items into an import area. So let's do a quick demo here. Throw that in. It should be right next to the, well, let's wire it up to the redstone. Okay, then we will need to wire up the outside here. There we go. Okay, so now that's transferring RF. So what I need to do is take the schematic here, and as an example, if I have a schematic and I put the right, so this is going to be, that's interesting. So you can actually make the schematic here. So what is going on over here in the Machinist Workbench? I'm very confused. Like, shouldn't it automatically craft? No. Alright, so let's go over here. So once I have RF power and a schematic, as soon as I place the item in the internal buffer, it's going to auto craft and place it into an export buffer. And just like all the other machines, I can configure which side of the machine gets items in and out. And so this is it can also absorb RF power. So I could actually be using this to auto craft. I'm sorry, not RF power, but fluid. So I could be using this to make some of the well, I don't know. What takes a fluid and a solid in the same piece? But a lot of the formulas are going to require the fluid transposer specifically in order to make the items. I don't know. I we'll wait and see what we can do with the fluid buffer. But anyway, this is going to be a useful block in making some items automatically, which I think should be fun to explore. So let's gather these up, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw them in the ME system for now, and then move on. Okay, so I can now claim the reward of a red print. And I'm not sure what a red print does, other than using a device to copy its settings. Alright, yes, I have heard of this. I do not find that useful at all. Okay, hypercharging is basically a infuser, so it can take RF out of the network, the flux network, and place it into an item. So that's what I'm going to need for crafting and charging jetpacks, which I think is going to be one of the next things that I'd like to work on. So as we can see, I have lots of material, so it's time to actually do something with it. And let's see, what am I missing? Kind of a couple items. Leadstone energy cell frame, sure. And then I'm missing one last machine frame, basic. Okay. Well, I can just craft one up. There we go. And that should give me the Energetic Infuser, which will complete this quest and give me a redstone flux capacitor, which is one of the pieces I'm going to need for the jetpack. Awesome. So I've almost actually finished this whole tree. Machine frame hardened. Okay, so I might actually want to make that into a repeatable pattern. Machine frame hardened is just invar with an electrum gear. So that means I need an electrum gear. Well, isn't that interesting? So it looks like it can only be made by pouring from a casting table. So that might be something I want to create another mini dupe. What am I doing wrong here? Okay, here we go. So I might want to make another dedicated mini smeltery just for that, because that'll give me the ability to basically stock up on gears. So I think it might be something where I can set up like a interface with some gear patterns, and then dump in either invar or electrum in blocks of 4. That's what happened. So it got sucked right into nuts. Alright, so let's remove the servo. That'll get pumped right back into the smeltery. And now I can right click and grab some of these electrum gears. Let me make a couple just in case. Okay. And we're back to the hardened machine frame. Here, here, done. Okay. Alright, I was going to make a formula out of that. And done. And I'll save that formula for later. But with the machine frame, that should allow me to... Oh, I actually have several quests here. Reinforced. Okay, so it's just going to march me right up the tree. Nope. Okay, so that's going to have to wait. So let me regroup, and then I think I'm going to work on a jetpack. Alright, I'm back, and it turns out there really wasn't a lot that I needed to do. I just plugged in the infuser over here, hooked it up to the energy cell. I added a couple more lava generators, and I'm up to 18 million RF stored here in the energy cell. So that's going to help me balance the needs of the systems and allow me to add more machines. So let's get to crafting. So let's look at the jetpacks, which are part of the Simply Jetpacks mod. And the base one that I want to craft right now is the leadstone jetpack. And so this is going to be the first tier. Next will be the hardened. I'm probably going to want to upgrade to this pretty quickly because of the larger RF capacity. But for now, let's just stick to the leadstone backpack. And I'm missing a lot of the pieces right now, so let's get crafting. So leadstone flux capacitor, pretty simple. The leather strap I got from smacking down a couple cows. The leadstone thrusters are, not that complicated. The reception cells are just our standard gold and redstone. The dynamo is just the coil with copper gear. The coil is just a simple silver and redstone, and I should have enough to make 2 of these. So leadstone flux ducts I have a lot of. In fact, I have a formula just to make more. So I should be able to make 1. Let's add the flux duct. back in, 2, throw those back in the ME system, and I now have 1 leadstone jetpack. So let's head over to the infuser and throw it in. And so that's going to be absorbed and charged based on the RF from the storage area, which is almost immediately being filled in by the leadstone, by the resonant energy cell. So with that, I can throw this in as a replacement chest piece, and looks good. Let's fire this up. So with that, I think I'm going to call this an episode. I got a pretty good system going here with the ME system. I moved the 4 deep storage units up top like I claimed. So I'm going to start moving the machinery in between episodes, and that will open up a lot of space down there, and hopefully I can reorganize and get that going. So with that, I'm going to call it an episode. So if you could, please leave a like or a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. And I will see you next time on Agrarian Skies 2. Bye.